What a well, DJ on the mic. What coming in with some EX9 goodness for your retinas, guys. And you know how long I've been waiting for this. Woo! I'm about to make a name for myself out here. Puppets, man. They be getting some mad support. And this right here in EX9, game changer. I'm not gonna lie, game changer. So in this video, as your boy, the resident puppet player, is going to be giving you the initial build in order for you to kind of build around, tweak, men to your play style. And hopefully you'll be clapping in EX9 format. So if this is the video for you, then stick around and enjoy. And if you're new to the channel, which you see, make sure you subscribe and turn notifications well, because I do videos on the reg. Massively passionate about this deck, and I'm so happy that this actual support is so solid. Like BT22 is great, but EX9, they were locked in. Let's just say that. So further ado, let me give you the list and all the sauce. What? Yes, sir. Okay, the list you've been waiting for, let's get it. Starting off with the eggs, we've got to run with the starter deck, Kaguyamon at solid 4. Obviously, getting draw is important. You want to be finding your pieces, and we are going to be attacking. And when we are doing so, if we've got another Digimon out, we are able to draw one. Absolutely perfect, especially because you're going to be going out wide with this deck. So that concludes there for the eggs. Now going on to the rookies. Rookies run 13. So let's start off with probably one of the key playmakers is going to be your starter deck Cendrillmon. This is just a fantastic search of netting your 2 cards, because searching out a liberator trait and a puppet trait Digimon is pretty much your entire deck right there. And also as well, it is actually a card, so it can be, as long as it's got a liberator trait, you're Gucci. Also inheritable does come up. Then the next in slot is going to be then the EX7 shoe. This is just fantastic in order for you to be memory efficient, especially when you're climbing up. And there's plenty of ways, obviously, to get this Digimon out, especially now that we do have a new level 6 account that can recur pieces from our trash, setting up for some awesome plays. Inheritable, once again, but shrinking down that security Digimons by additional 3,000 does come up. Then now we got the new Hanimon. Hanimon gives you another way to essentially filter your hand and also use your trash as a form of source in order to get some key cards, which is always fantastic right there. It does Evo for 0 on top of Kaguyamon, which obviously is our primary egg. Now that inheritable is also glorious because we're able to basically delete one of our puppet or tokens in order for us to essentially stop the attack, which is very powerful right there. So we do run this at a solid 3, and then we just combo that off with a promo shoe at 2. So the reason why we still run a decent line in regards to our Shoemons, because we do run promo wrestler in this build, spoiler alert, but this enables us to have a way to effectively prevent them from chipping out security, because on play we're able to give them minus security attack 1 to the end of their turn, and on top of that, inheritable enabling us to give them minus 2 KDP. So it just gives us a bit of flexibility of where we want to delegate that minus DP on their Digimon. So solid 13 right there, works absolutely fantastic. Now let's go over to the champions. We are currently running 9. So we do run with probably the best in slot, and you do want to be running this at 4. It's going to be a promo shoo. This is just the enabler for all of your combos right there, because of from security, able to essentially play it when the battle happens. So this is going to be good for you to kind of build out wide when the opponent does check in your security and they do bump into this. It's going to be fantastic in that. And then the on play when dissolving is that you play a familiar token, and that token does die at the end of the opponent's turn. One little thing to note here is that this is not optional. So you may be kind of in scenarios where there might be a medieval Gallimon out, and you don't want to play out a token because they're going to target this Digimon to obviously delete it. So there is going to be scenarios where you might have to kind of evo in back to prevent it from being deleted, just in those certain scenarios, because it's not a you have to play out a token. Also as well, the inheritable barrier, perfect. It means that you've got pretty much solid protections against your opponent if they happen to swing into it to try and remove your main stack. Barrier is going to come clutch in order for you to trash your security to prevent it from being deleted. Then we run the new Kaguyamon or Kaguyamon at 2. So this is actually beating expectations. Even though it's not an on play, the when Digivolving does come up, because if the opponent does play out a floodgate, which prevents you from playing cards by card effects, this really helps you in order for you to delete that, because if you trash a card from your hand, and that doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, puppet trait or anything, it's just basically a card from hand, you're able to minus 4k off the opponent's Digimon for the turn, which is actually quite massive right there. And this also applies to the on deletion there too, so you can use this to further boost your DP, minus DP deletion if you are in, you know, Cendrill, which effectively you could delete this in order for you to get the on deletion there as well, which is pretty powerful, meaning that Cendrillmon could pretty much do a 10k neg right there. Then we do run the start deck Shoemon, Shoemon. This is great from being played from security or even evoing into it, because it enables you to obviously have overclock on a level 4, which is pretty strong right there. Do not sleep on this card. The reason why I do like this is because if it isn't security, I can play any liberated traded card, play cost 4 or less from hand or trash. This really helps with the setup. It means that we can play Armorai from hand or trash there as well, because that is a vital card for you to kind of pop off and do your combos. Do not sleep on this card. And then we run a solid tech of the Nakamon at a solid 1. So this right here, obviously it is not part of the you know, the standard archetype, but it is a puppet trait Digimon, and if you are 3 or more security, it can give you the Digivolve protection and also DP minusing protection there as well, which is absolutely huge. And you want to be playing this on your Kaguyamon, because the reason being is that is such a linchpin in the deck, able to give your basically your puppet traded Digimon blocker and alliance. You want to make sure that it's still on the board, and Digivolve is definitely rife in here. You could argue, you know, why are you only running 1? It's crazy how much hand filtering you now have with this deck. Times in testing where I've literally come close to deck out. It's unreal. So being able to, you know, if this was kind of proc from security, you know, Kaguyamon can easily get this back from the end of turn effect right there, in order for you to then grant it blocker, well, grant it the protections of Digivolve and minus DP. Key note though, you have to be at 3 or more in order for it to go off. So this is the reason why I've actually just currently running at 1, because depending on the matchup that you're facing, sometimes, you know, the opponent can literally blitz out 3 security, not a problem. right there. And this then becomes a little bit of a dead card. Granted, the other effect does give you reboot and blocker, which can come pretty clutch, but you really are running this card for that Digivolve protection and also minus DP. So that concludes there for the champions. Let's go over to the ultimates. Ultimates, we are running a solid 7 right here, and we start off with the main playmaker, and it is going to be the Kaguyamon. Might have pronounced that wrong, I do apologize, but this right here is definitely one of the main playmakers in order for you to kind of turbo up for free into your top end, because it can Digivolve on top of a puppet trait Digimon for the cost of 3. So Nakamon, you can actually evo on top. We can use this to evo on top of it, which is also fantastic. Granted, the inheritable is going to be made redundant, but it does have an on play as well, and it also is, when Digivolving, is that by deleting one of your deleting one of your token or puppet trait Digimon, you're able to Digivolve into a Digimon card with puppet trait in the hand without paying the cost. And this is where it's really fantastic in order for you to kind of climb up into your top end for free. Because when you are setting up your eyes, the value that you get back is crazy. Honestly, it's such a rush, and it's fantastic when this card is in your hand and you're ready to do your thing. Also as well, the inheritable is the same as the other level 5 puppet trait Digimon that we have seen of this archetype, which is fantastic. Having that kind of protection by just deleting one of our tokens and puppet trait Digimon is huge right there. It's the reason why I personally like this deck. Then we go through the 2 starter deck Chaperone. This card has been aging like a fine wine for me. I must admit, originally I didn't like it at all. Probably the least favorite one that I wanted in my hand. But in this meta, just getting rid of bodies is just crucial, and being able to neg a possibly 6k DP is massive. And now, because we are spawning out a lot of Digimon, this is definitely a lot more probable now, which is fantastic. And then once again, that inheritable still the same. You want to make sure that your inheritables are pretty much the same with this deck, because that protection is undeniably where this deck strengths are. And then we just finally combo that off with a Chaparral EX9. Still a fantastic Chaparral. You know, being able to Digivolve and just play out a level 3 puppet trait Digimon from hand is fantastic. But realistically, this is the one that you want to be seeing. This is the emergency button right here. If you just need to kind of, you know, build up that minus DP threshold right there to ensure that you can actually delete the opponent's Digimon. And this, once again, you know, it's fantastic. It is great. Enables you to effectively utilize your Hanimons to kind of filter for your trash and get some core pieces if needs be. But it's definitely not the most, no, the card that you want to kind of go into realistically. And plus as well, this does have an on play, so the Mirai can kind of throw this out, and you do get the benefit of that there too. But that concludes there for the ultimates. Now let's go to now the main playmakers. It is going to be the level 6s, megas. So the new one in slot is going to be the Kaguyamon. This is such a strong card, and the fact that Evo's for free is nuts right there, because what this enables the deck is that aggression that the deck didn't necessarily have as such, unless you had the start deck of Rissa in order for you to kind of gain that rush. Start deck of Rissa is fantastic, but I don't feel like you need it as much right now, because you kind of leaning more towards a control-esque build. The reason why I do like this is, once again, you can able to able to grant your puppet trait Digimon alliance and blocker. So the thing that's quite crazy with this, if you have 2 of these out, effectively you're then stacking that alliance, meaning that you could literally alliance 2 bodies, which is quite scary, and you know, it ensures that you're going to be swinging through that security nice and easy like butter. On top of that, all turns, when one other Digimon is deleted, you're able to then delete the lowest level of the opponent's Digimon. The thing that's really good with this is the fact that it gives us another way of deleting bodies. Obviously, we were kind of, you know, our strengths are leaning towards our minus DPing, but the fact that now we actually have level-based deletion in this kit is really solid right there. And, you know, naturally, we're overclocking, we're deleting one of our tokens. It's a given. It's really easy to get off. And then, just to really finish it up, is then going to be the end of turn, is that you're able to play out a perpetrator Digimon level 4 from level 4 or lower from your trash without paying the cost. This gives you so many awesome plays that you can do with this deck. The fact that you're going to be really leveraging on your trash is fantastic, and there's cool interactions in terms of when you want to trigger overclock to effectively, you know, get cards that may be on the field into the trash and then get them replayed out, because the overclock trigger is an end of turn trigger, which you can then order however you want, meaning that effectively, if you did have, for example, a starter deck Shumon out, effectively you could overclock, pop that, do what you need to do, and then trigger Kaguyamon's effect to then replay that out and then get a search and net 2 cards. Really strong, and this is how you get through your deck quite quickly, with just cool little interactions from that. Also, like I mentioned, we do have the Namakimon in this list. Effectively, you could pull out the Namakimon because it is a puppet trait Digimon and it is level 4 from your trash, play it out, and give this that protection of Digivolve and minus DP for till the end of the opponent's turn, which once again you want to make sure that this Digimon kind of keeps on field. But we still do run the EX7 Chaparral Cendrillmon. The reason why this is still solid is because it massively controls the field, and even if you do not have Kaguyamon out on field, this alone can still be quite menacing and still can control pretty effectively, because it's essentially the when attacking, neg 6k DP is not once per turn, so naturally you are going to be negging up to 12k if you manage to do a swing, and also then the overclock. It does give you that respawn of tokens at start of main, which is also great, and on top of that it does have it on the when Digivolving effect there as well, and it is just a very strong card. The thing that made this a little bit annoying to kind of evo into was effectively the cost. The cost for it really just hurt it going into it, but now that we have the new level 5, realistically going into this for free is amazing value in order for you to effectively then start controlling efficiently. And if you can manage to get 2 of these out, then it's quite hard for the opponent to somewhat, you know, recontrol the field again, because we effectively, you know, can efficiently delete their Digimon by minus DPing their board, which is going to be nice. So that concludes there for the megas. Now let's go over to the options. So options, solid. So we go with the free physical trainings. Really good in order for us to kind of set up. Like, your first set of turns are going to be kind of laying this down or laying down your Mirai. But when you do have these set up, realistically, when you are popping off, you're going off hard and you are keeping turn. Like through testing, I don't think I've not kept turn with what I'm doing, and I've been choking myself for real. So the fact that like I can still keep turn and still pop off and still build a wide board and not pass over too much memory to the opponent, if they have a memory set out, give them free and they're all happy days. I've not really been, you know, I've not mismanaged my memory play efficiency for passing turn. I've done everything correctly and maximized on my play. So you could boost this up to 4 if you want to. I feel like 3 is just correct. And then I do run the Yellow Memory Boost. So Yellow Memory Boost is a card which effectively enables us to have another line of play, because sometimes you might just need to hard slam something down, but you do want to make sure that you have enough memory that the hard slam is not giving them too much memory in order for them to kind of clap back with. The digging 4, it really comes up quite clutch, because realistically you do want to just kind of find your pieces if necessary. If you do have the relevant pieces in order for you to pop off, but you just need to dig a little bit deeper, Yellow Memory Boost does come up quite clutch. I feel like now the direction of this, of how Cendrillmon is going, I feel like, you know, you don't always want to just do physical training. You want to use your memory in order for you to do different plays. You know, you might want to trigger the delay of the boost to gain 2 memory and play down a Mirai, because you know then the Mirai, when you evo up your line, can get further value in terms of playing out your puppets or playing out an Orisa. It's just giving that another line of play in order for you to do your combos quite efficiently, whilst keeping the opponent guessing on what you're going to be doing. And then the last 2 is an absolute flex spot. At the moment, I am going with the 2 Flame Hell Scythes right now. The reason being is that, one, I'm starting to appreciate option deletion now. Just because Digimon being immune by Digimon effects is getting annoying. It's getting really annoying. But this literally can be anything. At the moment, I'm testing Flame Hell Scythe. The reason being is because the value that you actually get off this is quite nice. One, its main is that you're able to neg 6k DP off of the opponent's Digimon, and then you're able to play a purple or yellow 6k DP Digimon from your trash without paying the cost, which is actually pretty massive right there. You know, utilizing this to play out the promo shoe is huge, meaning that effectively you got a body and then also a token that is then going to be deleted at the end of the opponent's turn, meaning that you're effectively deleting a 9k DP body, which is pretty nutty right there. This has come up in testing in terms of when the opponent has kind of swung in, and then boom, I'll be able to trigger the main effect from this, and then I've built out wide, I've deleted their board, and then they're kind of left in a bit of like a oh damn situation right there. And then on top of that, if you do have the EX9 Orisa out there as well, effectively you can get another Digimon out before the turn switches. If the token is deleted, suspend the EX9 Orisa, and then from there play out one of your shoes or puppetry Digimon. On top of that, say for example, if you play out the Hanimon, you could do a bit of hand filtering and get out a core piece which enables you to then pop off further and control. I feel like I say, this now direction is more control / burst. You want to make sure that you are effectively getting your pieces, controlling the board quite effectively, and then just blow out the stack in happy days, just because overclock is such a powerful mechanic, and having an alliance is now absolutely huge right there. So that concludes there for the options. Now let's go over to Tamers. Tamers are, God, honestly, solid right here. People might disagree with the ratios, but let's run it. So we do run the free new Mirage from EX9. This card is just great, and you do want to see this early in order for you to effectively set up. This card is purely a setup card, and the thing that you can do with this card is fantastic, because effectively you can play this down for free, real top free, pick out a liberator trait, or a puppet trait Digimon card from the reveal, bottom deck the rest, which is fantastic. Then when one of your Digimon digivolves, you are able to tuck this card to the bottom of your deck, and then you're able to play out an Orisa, Kinasagi, or puppet trait Digimon with the play cost reduced by 3. This card is hands down amazing. Absolutely amazing right here. There could be an excuse that you do want to run this up to 4, but I feel like 3 is the perfect spot, because you are tucking this back into your deck and you filter through your deck quite quickly. So likelihood that you are going to be bumping back up into this, not a problem. Even with strict from security, you get its on play, which is fantastic. But the cool thing with this is that it works fantastically with the next card, and it is going to be the promo Orisa. So a lot of people have been disregarding this off. This card is huge. Is so powerful. I cannot stress it enough. Before, in theory, I was like, yeah, I can see the logic in this. After testing, I'm like, this card is nuts. And I didn't like this card. Like, initially, I didn't actually run it in my decks at all. You know, you can see all my profiles on my channel. I did not run this card at all. Only recently, I'm starting to run this card. And now, after testing with the new support, this card goes so hard, because effectively, you're getting both of these effects. But granted, the limitation is that you're only playing a shoe, which isn't bad at all, because we do run a plethora of shoes, and the shoes go hard. Those Timberlands be kicking your opponent's face in. The fact that then you are able to, when you do digivolve, you're able to then suspend this to gain a memory goes nuts. You don't see the immediate value, but when you get these down and then you throw these out, is massive. The on play of this, play out a shoe, build out your board wide in order for you to just further combo your plays up, get to your Kaguyamon or your Cendrillmon, and you still build that wide and you keep in turn. And then after that, that's when the opponent's kind of thinking, right, how can I choke? Can I choke? Maybe they can't choke, and then they have to pass you a decent amount of memory, because your board is so wide at that point with tokens and puppet trait Digimon. Is that this, when you evo into a puppet trait Digimon, you're then printing memory, because you're just reducing the cost effectively, but you're not reducing the cost because you're gaining the memory for other plays, which is beautiful. Do not sleep on this card. The reason why I don't run the start deck Orisa is because the style of the deck's changed massively. You don't need rush. Like, you don't really rush. It's nice, and yes, you are a lot more comfortable having that free memory to do your plays and so forth, but that's why we run the memory boosts. Like, the memory boosts are there in order for us to kind of pop that and get the memory when we need to get the memory. The fact that we have this lineup means that from the starter deck EX7 Orisa, you know, if we do have it out, we manage to gain memory if the opponent has got Digimon out on field, which is beautiful. On top of that, if a Digimon was going to be deleted, we can play at a level 3 puppet trait Digimon from our hand without paying the cost, which is once again massive right there. When you are popping off, this is your main pop off. This is your complementer. This is like your comfy, getting everything down. Opponent has to think of how to deal with your board. because realistically, even if they delete a puppet traded Digimon, we could just suspend this and get another puppet traded Digimon out, which is fantastic. And then because our board does go so wide, and God, it goes so wide, it's the rush doesn't matter, because you are going to be winning next. You're going to be winning next turn for real, just because Kaguyamon just provides that alliance, which makes the aggression of this deck tenfold. Can't stress. But that's not me saying that starter deck Orisa is a bad card by any stretch. You know, I'm still getting the collected edition version of starter deck Orisa, because it might come back and so forth. There's very different ways that you can build this deck, and I respect it. But right now, I do feel like Promo Orisa, the value of this towards the game plan what you're trying to do, really works well. But that concludes for the Tamers and the deck profile. Let me know what you think in the comments. So there you have it, guys. EX9 puppet deck profile, ready for you to tweak to your playstyle. So the question is, what do I think to the new support, and how will it sit in the meta? Honestly, Bandai locked in. Absolutely locked in. The new support is very solid in terms of what it does. So the fact that we can leverage Purple's strength in terms of utilizing our trash to do further plays is huge. Absolutely huge. The fact that we have an awesome tamer of Mirai, you know, Orisa's sister, she is a playmaker and really helps out the deck so much. The fact that she can on play, set up, get a freaking key card, and then we can utilize her later is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And this is why I've kind of lent towards not having, you know, any EX7 Shoo, because realistically, that card's doing what Shoo was doing. So I'm like, nah, sad that off for real. And just enable us to kind of leverage more on the promo Orisa is great. Like, I hated that card. I didn't like it at all initially, and now I'm like, this card goes hard. If you manage to just set this up, you are really extending your plays even further without the memory being at where it needs to be. And depending obviously with the opponents trying to choke you, it don't matter. It don't matter, because when you're basically evoing up, you can suspend those and gain that memory back, which is absolutely fantastic. Only those cases where effectively you're not going to evo is when you're going to be in a bit of a sticky situation, but 9 times out of 10 you are going to be trying to be climbing up, which is great. On top of that, Kaguyamon is fantastic. Absolutely pushes the damage output of this deck through the freaking roof, on top of having overclock being the thing right there. The thing that's really good is overclocking now really is the finisher kind of keyword that we've got, because realistically we're gonna swing, we're gonna freaking trigger alliance, we're gonna be pushing out that damage output, using our EX7 Cendrill to just effectively delete any form of Digimon that's out on the field from when attacking, and then from there close out with a cheeky overclock if you can really push out that damage. And depending on how many Kaguyamons you've got out, you can obviously stack that alliance even further, as long as you meet the requirements in terms of how many bodies you have on the field, which is pretty easy in this deck. I kid you not, I don't have enough mat for the amount of tokens and Digimon that I'm spawning out. Also on top of that, Kaguyamon gives us an accessibility to basically other puppet traded Digimon, which have pretty awesome on-play effects. Namakimon being quite a cool card that we can now leverage to give us that additional protection of Digivolve and also minus DP, as long as you are at 3 or more security when it is played, which is actually really huge, because Kaguyamon is a playmaker that you do want to keep out on field. It doesn't matter if your other Digimon going to get freaking Digivolve and so forth. As long as that's out on the field, it means that you still got a ton of blockers out ready to kind of withstand any form of damage that they may put out, which is really huge in this format, for real. And then on top of that, if you happen to block something and that's deleted, then you can actually punish off of the all turn effects, which is once again really massive. It plays for us because obviously we overclock, we delete a body, and then from the opponent's side, if we can block, we're going to obviously be deleted, and then we can delete one of their lowest level Digimon. Absolutely fantastic right there. So overall, I am massively impressed with the new support. I'm like, BT22 Cyber Eden is coming upon us, and you know, we've got another Cendrillmon level 6, and we could possibly get a ace, which is still in the pipeline. We have to see how it goes, but right now I'm pretty happy with what it's got just in this set. It's crazy what else it could be cooking. But guys, if you enjoyed the video and the list, make sure you smash it like a standard. Like I always mention, it is just a starting framework for you guys to tweak and amend and do what you need to do. I respect you guys, and I respect all the cooks in the kitchen. Make sure you drop into the Discord there as well, and not my Discord. It is actually the Discord Ballroom Blitz Discord. A lot of people players very passionate about the actual archetype. Make sure you drop in there as well, because there's a lot of minds cooking in that Discord, and we are all happy with how this support is looking. So make sure you drop in there and say hello to everyone and all that jazz. But guys, stay safe, stay fly, and I'll catch you next one. That's your boy Dread, off the mic.